you win or you lose, I'm lying, but I won't care.
If you win or you lose, I'm still having
I'll
relations
still
with
love
your mom.
mom.
Yeah. So don't sweat it.
From Walt Disney Pictures, he's a hotshot attorney who's never lost.
Yes!
Forced to coach a hockey team that's never won.
Keep swinging. Maybe you'll give him a cold.
He'll try to teach them how to win.
You think losing is funny?
Well, not at first, but once you get the hang of it.
And they'll teach him
Get off the roof, you little monkey!
that winning isn't everything.
Let's have fun out there.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Emilio Estevez,
Are we ducks or what?
The Mighty Ducks. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
He's never coached. They've never won. Together, they'll learn everything about winning. What does that say to you?
Well, my basic plot is described poorly.
Yeah.
A lawyer named after 2 types of gin coaches a peewee hockey team as his required community service.
Okay.
It doesn't have the same ring,
No.
but it works.
It
for
works.
me.
I think it does. I think it does the trick.
I'll allow it.
I don't know that it flat out says this is the Mighty Ducks. It seems to work. It can apply.
You got to get there. It doesn't just beat you over the head with it.
I will say the name, one of my favorite notes that I made for this movie. I just love the name Gordon Bombay.
Really good? Charlie Conway.
Yes, the names in this movie are really solid.
Carp. I don't even know what carp is short for, but I'm fine with it.
If this movie executed anything like superbly well, I think just they can get any awards based on just names alone.
I looked up if they won any awards.
Oh, please.
They did not. However,
spoiler alert.
However, they were nominated for Outstanding Young Ensemble Cast and Best Young Actress for Young Artist Award.
Okay.
I don't know which one. I'm assuming Marguerite Monroe, I think is her name.
You're better than me. I didn't even look up the names. So good on you.
But I mean, there are no other female cast members other than Charlie's mom.
I was gonna say, or the girls on the team.
And then, so there's just the one until the very end.
Yeah, until Tammy.
Pete and Pete's sister. Yeah,
Tammy and Tommy.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so let's start just with the basic plot that I found.
Let's do this.
After reckless, right out the gate, not a fan of Gordon Bombay. He's reckless. After
Correct.
Reckless young lawyer Gordon Bombay gets arrested for drunk driving, he must coach a kid's hockey team for his community service. No problems. Typical community service role is to go coach the local sports team.
I also have some issues with the way the arrest went down.
Let's do the plot and then let's get to that.
Okay.
We had to cover all the bases.
Okay.
Gordon has experience on the ice, but isn't eager to return to hockey.
He is not.
A point hit home by his tense dealings with his own former coach, Jack Riley. Great bad guy.
Yep.
The reluctant Gordon eventually grows to appreciate his team, which includes promising young Charlie Conway, and leads them to take on Riley's tough players. Any problems? Covers all your bases covered?
Yep. I'm there.
What you had a problem with his arrest.
Correct.
Just one problem.
It is a snowstorm in Minnesota, and this takes 2 cop cars to pull him over for drunk driving, and he's pretty snarky in the arrest as well.
He's brazen. He's a brazen guy.
But then he seems surprised that this goes poorly. Like, whoa! I thought we were all friends here. There are 2 cop cars following you in a snowstorm. Maybe that's your first clue that don't mess around.
And he's not even like trying to hide his drinking. He's not doing like a little sneaky. He's like even like clear as day between the seats. Like, here's a beer bottle.
I couldn't tell if it was a Rolling Rock or what.
It definitely looked like a Rolling Rock.
It's got that vibe. It's the green bottle.
Henkin, one of the 2.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to care.
Yeah.
Fine.
And that to me speaks to, do you think he's cocky? He's cocky because he's a good lawyer, but part of this movie to me would say that like he's so well known for him being a hockey player at some point? Is it like a combination? Is it he is a great hockey player 30 years ago and also now he's a great lawyer? Like he has he has no belief, like disbelief in himself. He is
no. I think he's just used to him being like the most talented person in the room.
Sure.
And this carries over to fill in the blank. Being a lawyer, I'm gonna outsmart you.
Yeah.
Because he leans into like, oh, I found a loophole. Yeah. I did this. Okay, great.
Very, very lawyery in his doings. So before we get much further, the basic details of this movie: the year 1992.
Yep.
The rating PG. Now it's. I think a lot of these movies are going to run into an issue with 1990s PG and today's PG, but 1990s PG, you could get away with kids saying bastards.
Sure. Yeah.
So about as many hells as possible, saying hell throughout the entire movie.
Lots of craps.
Some craps, idiots, pansies, a circumcision joke, ass, bitch, and damn it.
I didn't get the circumcision joke.
There is a circumcision joke when Goldberg, goalie?
Yeah.
When they hang him up.
Oh, yes.
When they hang him up.
The bris.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's also
fine.
a Jewish joke.
That's fine.
I'm okay with it. Way over the head. Lots of crap. I was cringing at the craps. There's so many craps.
I'll be honest. I blew right past the craps. I blew right past them.
Rewatch and look for the craps. They are aplenty. Lots of craps.
Now, I don't know if you got into the weeds of like the specifics of the movie. Do you know what the budget to make this movie was?
No.
$10 million. What would your guess be on how much it grossed?
Ooh, I think it did well.
It made its money back. It made its money back for sure. And this is movie one in a popular franchise.
Okay, so 10 million. I'm gonna say like 60 mil.
Pretty damn close. 50 million. Okay. So not bad. And I'm guaranteeing the other ones, based off this popularity, did better. 2
was good. I'll be honest. I remember 2 better than
2's
1.
The wheelhouse.
3 is just.
Is Emilio in 3?
I can't even remember.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Didn't even make the third cut.
I don't think. But there's some players in this that don't even make it to 2.
Got it.
And it's disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that you remember seem to move on.
Yeah.
But no Carp in 2.
Yeah.
I can't even think of the little guy with the leather jacket.
Yep. Oh, sure.
Tommy.
I just always thought he was Nick Kroll. That was just what in my head. I just called him Nick Kroll.
But he doesn't make it to 2, which is unfortunate. I would have liked to see him. But I remember 2 much better than 1.
And that, well, I thought a brazen move on their part, or just maybe I was projecting. When this movie ends, they don't imply there's another movie coming. They flat out basically say, "I'll see you next season." Like, and to me that says, yeah, they could just say that, but also that to me, watch this movie feels like, oh, they know they're making a like they know the next one's coming.
So I don't know if this is a poor time to bring this up.
Please,
but
there's never.
I have several problems with this movie.
Okay.
The ending being one of them. So
didn't like the ending.
He coaches a Pee-wee team to a championship and then goes, you know what? I'm going to try for the minors. Mm-hmm. How does that translate?
Okay.
You are a coach reluctantly because of community service, and now you feel like you have the skills to maybe make it to the NHL?
I think what had happened was when they do their little run-in with the NHL players, those were players that knew him from youth hockey. So my note in here was like, you were good when you were 12 years old. Give it a crack. You're 36.
20 years from now, that's got to hold up, right?
I will say up to, I made a note, a strong, I was like, this is something I'm going to really harp on. But then at the end, they said, I'm trying out for the minors. Like, in my mind, this is a kid's movie. They could have said he was going straight to the Penguins. They at least, tried to base it in reality to be like, he's trying for the minor league.
No. So,
problem.
I played baseball in
Little
7th
League.
grade.
I was great.
And now I'm going to go try out for the AAA team. Come on.
You can try out. It doesn't mean you'll make it.
Sure. Go. You're going to get on a bus and you're going to go right on town.
If you want to go try out
ceremoniously with your team cheering you off.
If you want to go try for the Schaumburg Boomers, you can go do it right now. They're looking for people.
I don't buy it.
All right.
I will not.
Well,
I cannot.
You're not the only person who had problems with this movie.
Good.
Let's see what Roger Ebert has to say. 2 stars.
That's probably generous.
Wow. 2 stars. I thought that was a little harsh for
For out of 5, right?
I didn't even look that up.
I mean,
assumed it was
it's
5.
so
2 out of 5. That's a hard fail.
so 6.5 on IMDb, 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's pretty appropriately marked.
Okay.
Like
For
the things
the
I
public.
like about this movie, I like. The things I don't like, yeah, it's a valid point. So what does Raj have to say?
Good old Raji. He says, The Mighty Ducks is the kind of movie that might have been written by a computer program. Not great. If you are a would-be screenwriter desperate for a sale, rent the videos of all these movies and then simply apply the formula to a sport that hasn't been covered yet. He's not wrong.
No.
I mean, they're all pretty formulaic.
What are you saying? That there are other movies of teams that aren't good and then have a montage and then are finally great?
The lacrosse team, maybe. Pay special attention to Hoosiers since it's the good one. It's to me, it's so funny when an adult comes down hard on a kid's movie because it's just like, look at this piece of shit. Like, look at these kids, you idiots.
Ripping on a kid's drawing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, this isn't great. Yeah.
There's lines. Color in them.
Kid.
Color in them, Blake. Estevez arrives at the first practice session in a limousine, inexplicable in plot terms, but good for some inane scenes in which the little hockey stars flatten their noses against the glass. It's great.
Okay.
It must be said that this movie is sweet and innocent, and that at a certain level it might appeal to younger kids. I doubt if its ambitions reach much beyond that. Those are the ambitions of this movie. Make little kids like it.
It's odd the things that he likes are the kids smushing their faces against glass.
And he's reaching for that. Like, I think what he's basically saying is like, look, there's not a lot here, but nose against the glass, sure. That's a hoot. Roger, not a fan. The Washington Post, their older escorts might want to bring a novel and a flashlight, or a Walkman, or a portable television with earphones. They'll need something to get through this alive. Composer David Newman unleashes some of the most insipid background music ever recorded.
Wow. I was not focusing on the background music, if we're going to be totally honest.
I mean, I typically for these, I like to see what a couple of, journalists have to say. But I also like to see what a couple of the commoners also have to say. A user from 2010 said, predictable, but sweet and fun. Fine. Another one agreed with Roger. By the numbers Disney retread. The writers must have had a copy of the Bad News Bears running constantly because this movie is a direct ripoff of that classic. Unfortunately, what you are left with is uninspiring. 1 from column A, 2 from column B nonsense. I realize it's for kids, and it's not meant to have deeper meaning, but it is still too predictable and cutesy.
I mean, what's predictable? That they win at the end?
I think to your point, it's montages. It's the coach doesn't want to be there. He eventually warms up to the kids, hooks up with one of the kids' moms. I mean, it's all right there. It's all there in black and white.
I have issues with this movie, and we will get into those.
Hold on.
But I also feel like there are things that add merit to the movie. Such as, did Mighty Ducks invent poo dollars?
That, I made a note. That prank is solid. That is a well-thought-out prank.
$1 in a purse. Mm-hmm. That is poo dollars dressed up.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're not even smearing a dollar bill with poo. They had to find a purse in a dumpster.
Right. And also, not just one of them crap in the bag.
No.
Get the beans, feed them to the dog, follow the dog.
This is an elaborate prank, dressed up.
They
may have invented poo dollars.
That was one of my favorite parts of this movie, was just the elaborate prank done by the kids. I was like, kudos to them. They're clever.
And then this guy chases them. He feels the need to chase them down afterward. Yeah. I don't know why. They get away.
Yeah.
He kind of had it coming.
No notes there.
Sorry.
Also, one of my other favorite reviews, I just love the line, "The little scamps, it makes me laugh." I just loved that line. So, if we're going in order, which my notes went from top to bottom, I just love right from the jump, they're setting the stage. No pressure on Gordon. From the instant the movie starts, like, no pressure, but win the game, and also I'm going to be disappointed in you if you don't. Like, the team's going to be mad, I'm going to be mad.
So I have
go make the goal.
That is one of my least favorite scenes.
Yeah. Coach Riley is rough.
If you miss this shot, you're not just letting me down. You're letting your whole team down too.
Yeah.
To a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And then later in the flashback, Gordon has a flashback, and he says, if you miss this shot, you're not just letting your team down, you're letting me down too. It's not worth playing if you can't win.
He drops that line plenty.
But he changes it later too. It's not worth winning if you can't win big. I feel like there's some miscommunication. Maybe Gordon's just not remembering it clearly.
Oh.
Maybe his coach isn't as big of a dick as he thinks. Spoiler alert, he is. But maybe...
Gordon, you were right.
But maybe, I mean, if he's saying, hey, you're not just letting your team down, you're letting me down.
Right.
To me, that somehow it seems less harsh than you're not just letting me down, you're letting the world down.
Right.
All your friends.
Yeah.
Way to go, loser.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's
now,
not great either way, I'll admit.
so now go and make the most important shot in your little life.
And my issue, too, is that was to tie overtime. So that means that other people had to have missed before him.
I didn't even pick up on that.
This isn't just like, if you make it, you win. If you miss it, we lose.
Right.
It's, if you make it, you extend overtime.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we win.
That's true.
That just means that you don't lose it.
I looked past that, and that's a key. I think that's a key note.
Well, I'm glad I brought that up because we
See,
need to put this room into rest.
This is why this
Bombay
isn't just you or
should
me.
not be
This
on
is
the
a team.
hook.
That's
He
true.
did all he could.
Right.
But, okay, you make it, we move on.
Right.
It doesn't mean you win yet.
Well, and I think that's the foreshadowing of Gordon's eventual coaching style is like, hey,
And
listen.
to Charlie, listen,
Right.
if you win or you lose, I'm lying, but I won't care.
If you win or you lose, I'm still having
I'll
relations
still
with
love
your
your mom.
Yeah. So don't sweat it. Here's the noses on the glass. Perfect kids movie foils.
Yeah,
Love.
they're being really rough with this car, too.
Yeah. I mean, why not? They're setting the stage.
Sharp, just going to town on this window.
And so the earlier note or the review saying it's a ripoff of Bad News Bears, obviously fine. I'm fine with that note. But what I also picked up on a lot on is I feel it connected to Hook. I feel like Hook, you got Peter Pan, who's now a lawyer. His childhood thing that he had a dream about, he's out of touch with it. He's a hotshot lawyer.
Okay,
He's the cock of the walk.
Okay.
And now he has to have this redemption story of going back to
relive his
yeah,
youth.
he's a workaholic. He has to go back and find connect with his youth. So I thought I just kept thinking Hook, and that's also because I just love Hook. But
I do too.
Yeah,
but
so
I never picked that up.
I saw the parallels with Hook. Obviously, kids sports movie. So automatically you'll think of classics. But I kept feeling Hook. I think if he wasn't a lawyer, I probably wouldn't have thought.
Are you saying Gordon Bombay is Peter Pan?
I'm saying we're in a time of crossovers, and we need to start exploring. We've done enough Marvel, okay? We've hit the well. Let's dial it back to 90s Disney and crossover. Also, Gordon, they're pretty rough with the kids. Side note. Now that we have this on the background, they don't pull any punches with some of these kids.
And these look like some pretty big 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
I wanted to look up how old Fulton Reed's character actually
30.
is.
He's 30.
I don't think in this movie, and any movie
He repeated
I've seen
sixth
after
grade
that-
twice. He's already repeated sixth grade. So
Okay, they did say that.
at the very least, there's that.
But I want to know how old the actual actor was in the filming of this, because he
Yeah.
towers over everyone.
Yeah.
Granted, he's wearing boots.
Yeah,
I
big
get
boots.
it, but he's a giant human being in this.
Yeah.
I remember watching this as a youth
As
and
a
being
youth.
like, yes, he is huge.
Right.
That cannot be a real human being.
Mhm.
And they're manhandling these kids.
I feel like we're going to get into some of these movies where the common thread's going to be throwing kids around,
Yeah.
fat jokes.
If they have it coming.
If they have it coming, they will not pull any punches with kids. Way too many fat jokes. There's that. I remember kids movies that was like,
true.
if there's a scene that's lacking, just pick on the fat kid, and that's gonna. I mean, heavyweights. I think
Seems
that's
to
gonna be a
work.
plenty.
Yeah, it just you're lofting it up.
Yeah, it's
or
right
hit it
there.
out of
So
the
I think
park.
we're gonna run into those classics plenty. The opposing lawyer in the beginning, guy from Wedding Singer and the other Adam Sandler movies. Big. I like that little sneaky connect.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he's the one from Wedding Singer who says, "Oh, you want my parents' side? You want to talk about that?
Right.
Why would I want to talk about that? I
Right.
have no idea." So I caught him during when he gets pulled over. One of my favorite lines in the movie, blood, breath, or urine.
Yes.
The cop asks him, and
No thanks.
yeah, no thanks, I'm full.
Yeah.
I thought that was solid. There's actually a couple.
Good for you. Good for you, Gordon.
There's actually a couple lines that I did burst out laughing watching this. There was that. There was Aberman. He's the dorky one. When Gordon's getting mad at him about losing, and he's like, "Oh, well, actually, when you do it a lot, you get used to it." Like,
Yeah.
the delivery of that was solid.
Aberman has some solid lines.
Although I'm going to say something controversial here. He's a character I could lose just based on the constant Rob Schneider impression. Listen, in the 90s, yes, classic, but like he never lets up on it.
I did find some trivia or facts about the movie.
Yeah.
Did you know Charlie Sheen was offered the role for Gordon Bombay?
Yes, so I was going to get to the alternate casting.
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder if those two talked. I mean, they're brothers, right?
I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't.
They had, or like if have they gone their whole lives and not realized they both is there a movie they both tried out for and didn't realize that they both went in for it? I feel like they had to have known.
Is this the one? I don't know.
Because if there's a movie where Charlie Sheen would work, odds are Emilio could probably take a crack at it too. I feel like.
Do you think you could see Charlie Sheen in this role?
He definitely would play the like. I don't know about playing. Well, he can. I think he can clean up. I was gonna say he could definitely play the like.
He could be a lawyer.
Burn like someone who's down on his luck and then has to the redemption story.
Right.
But yeah, I think the lawyer look, the snazzier one, I think goes to Emilio. I'll give him that. Mm-hmm. I saw so. Also, do you know who the other Bombay potential castings were?
No.
Charlie Sheen, Bill Murray, Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks.
Come on.
Michael J. Fox.
Come on.
So they were swinging hard.
First off, can you imagine Michael J. Fox or Tom Hanks being like a dick lawyer?
And I think that's probably, well, maybe Tom before Michael. Because Tom has a good yell. He's got League of Their Own. I mean, that's him just yelling at his team all the time. But to that point, Michael J. Fox never. I could never.
So lovable. Tom Cruise, I could picture fine, but
maybe. I feel like of all those names, I could maybe Bill Murray. I can't see it at all.
Too goofy.
But I think that Bill Murray one lends itself to Walter Matthau, Bad News Bears, like older coach. Well, I guess at this time he wasn't that much older, but
yeah.
So that potentially. So there's those ones.
Wow.
Other potential castings for Conway, Jake Gyllenhaal.
I saw that.
And Leo.
Oof.
They just went heartthrob all day. So good. Kudos to him for beating out the.
I mean, I will say, I can't think of that many other Joshua Jackson movies.
Right. He listen. He could say at the very least, I'm sure he lost out on roles to those two, but not this one.
No. And this is the one that mattered.
So you remember that, Jake and Leo. Connie, also potentially Juliette Lewis. So that was another alternate casting.
I did not know the actors that play Guy Germain and Fulton Reed are actually brothers in real life.
Did not know
and
that.
then Jussie Smollett is Jesse Hall's little brother.
I wrote that in caps, all caps.
And when I saw him in this, I'm like, oh my God, that
I don't want to get too political here, but 100% that's who that is. As soon as I saw the name, I was like,
he's not in the second one either, so it was a one and done. Jesse stuck around.
Yeah.
But oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Some good ones though. And also if we're staying in the trivia and facts mythology section,
please.
The actors lied about being able to play hockey.
So they
were trained. Although I will say, the hockey games towards the end are legit. Like it's not. I don't feel like they're doing a lot of quick cuts to cover up people not being able to hockey. I felt like I was watching a hockey game.
Yeah, I mean, some
players.
of the passes. I think that's the issue with any sports movie, especially kids' sports movies. Is you're like, all right, there are 20 instances here where this goes awry.
Yeah.
Anyone with any wherewithal is going to steal that pass or going to do this or the flying V, for instance, which
classic.
I'm so glad that in the second one, then Iceland is just like, yeah, this is stupid. Like we blast it. But in this movie, I'm sure the team is confused. So like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
So they score. I'm actually buying that.
Yeah.
They're in a V formation. Why would anyone ever attempt this?
They love trick plays in this movie. They've got the
Sure
flying
do.
V, Fulton's fake out shot, and earlier
Amazing.
on, great. Tammy's spin move,
It fooled me.
and the triple deke. Like, they were not without. And again, another classic kids sports movie, the annexation of Puerto Rico. Like, they love a trick play, and we as the audience love it.
I never see it coming. Every
And
time,
also,
I'm
now
always
you go
surprised.
play a sport. If you're playing hockey, you're doing a flying V or a knuckle puck. If you're playing football, you're doing the annexation of Puerto Rico. If you're 12 years old, you're busting out all these exact plays.
It's very quotable.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't work at all.
Yeah. It doesn't
You
need to
still
work.
want it to.
Yeah, it doesn't need to work.
No.
It doesn't need to make sense. Adam Banks got the part because the original kid was too difficult to work with.
I buy that.
Yeah. Only one difficult kid.
Seems like a
Evan.
prima donna.
How about the original premise of Mighty Ducks? It was much darker, with very little comedy, about an ex-NHL player turned alcoholic who seeks revenge on his old coach by coaching opposite him. The main idea stayed when Disney bought the rights to the movie, but some elements were changed, such as Bombay is now a lawyer who never played in the NHL, who must do community service for DUI, including much more emphasis on comedy and downplaying most of the adult themes. So Disney was game for the darkness. They were like, yes, we want alcoholic
Right.
NHL
Bring
player.
it.
Yeah. So we could have got
Foreshadowing,
again,
perhaps.
we
to
could have got a much
future
we could have got a
movies?
much darker version. Okay, this scene drives me nuts. This is the Hawks. Oh, here comes Fulton though to
Yeah.
beat some ass. This is the Hawks circling the Ducks. They're not the Ducks yet. What are they?
No.
District
Sorry,
something?
District 5.
District 5, thank you.
Yeah.
They circle them on rollerblades, which again, 90s, fine with the trope. But it's not a great mode of transportation when you're threatening someone else to fight them, because all you're going to need is and a side note, there's 3 of them and 7 of District 5.
Also, so there's snow on the ground? Rollerblading in ice and snow.
Again,
Not
looks cool, but all you got to do
ideal.
is just
Does it?
push with all
Doesn't
push
look
with all your might, all your little might at one of those kids, and Fulton, because
He
he's
just
bigger.
picks him up.
Yeah, all you would have to do is push him down, and then now, have you ever tried to get up in rollerblades? Like, it's not like you're popping right back up again.
Every
like,
day.
straight out of bed, rollerblade out the door. Yeah,
Fulton too. All those kids too have the same haircut. I don't know if this is part of the Hawks thing or if this is just like a snooty rich kid thing.
It's the Hawks thing. I think they're the more recent version of the Hitler Youth. They all look the same. They're all blonde hair, blue eyed. Like, I
Okay,
think there's
interesting.
there's an alternate.
parallels.
There's some fan fiction that could go really dark. Listen, this could have been a darker movie, right?
I was gonna say if Disney wants to go dark,
Come
that
here,
might have been a
call us.
subplot.
I will put our number up. You can give us a call. But I just love the idea of darker, an alternate universe where there's a darker version of this movie. The limo driver. Have you seen the movie Sideways?
No.
So that is the movie where the 2 friends, one's about to get married, they go drinking. One of them has sex with somebody who's married, and Paul Giamatti has to go get his friend's wallet that he left there. The husband, the other husband, runs out naked after them. That's the limo driver in this movie.
MC
So
Gainey,
you
right?
see the whole thing.
No, MC Gainey's his name, I think.
Oh, well, I thought you were calling it his MC Gainey. I was like, yeah, you see his MC Gainey.
That's his nickname for his penis.
MC Gainey.
My question
And now mine too.
is, why does he become the assistant coach at the
I
end?
have the same note. I just said
So
no.
he was
So
a
he's
limo driver, and then all of a sudden he's a coach. He's on the team.
well. So he's the driver that Gordon's boss gave him to show up for him around. But yeah, now he's
Right,
the assistant
he's
coach.
just been adopted.
Yeah,
by the
I
team.
had the note. He's the assistant coach now. Same thing.
Right.
Also, Ducksworth and the judge, are they the same person? I had to rewind because there's a scene earlier on where they're back to back. He's in the courtroom with the judge, and then the next scene he's in the office with Ducksworth, and I thought they were the same person.
Old white guy.
Old wrinkly white guy, same kind of like hairstyle. Like, I legitimately was like,
Hairstyle and
Did-
balding.
yeah.
Is the hairstyle?
I was trying to remember if it was a horseshoe or if it wasn't full bald. I was convinced for
a couple minutes. I was like, did they just like try
It
to?
could be the same actor. Just
Did they just
like,
pull the old?
maybe?
Yeah.
The switcheroo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that a switcher? They tried to save a buck, all right, and fine, it works because there's not too many scenes where they're back to back.
Yeah, we already covered the childhood trauma of Riley and Gordon,
But also his line where he tells Gordon, where he's talking about Banks, and he says he's not as good as you, but he wants it more.
Right.
I was like,
That
lay
is a backhanded compliment.
lay off of Gordon. Like
Right.
you legitimately
You were
will not let this
talented.
go.
You just didn't want it as much.
Let it go, man. Like you have 30 championships on the wall.
This is my question. If Coach Riley is that great, why does he only coach Pee Wee hockey? 10-year-olds.
I had a note.
Did he used to have a kid on the team? Like I know there are coaches of sports
Maybe?
teams.
They don't
that don't have
allude
ki-
to that though in any way.
Usually you have a kid on the team. Like at some point are people gonna be like, he's
So
okay,
that's why
all
this
right.
is a '90s movie.
Yeah.
Because if it's today, it'd be like, so this guy's a pedophile, or like, what is going on?
He's the Bill
Why does he-
Belichick of youth hockey
Yeah.
in Minnesota district, in that district.
Great.
But no,
if
no,
he's
yeah.
that good, move up to a different level, man.
Yeah.
10-year-old hockey.
Yeah.
That's your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You're just really good at that. Because all I'm seeing is you flip your collar.
Yeah.
You have these cheesy lines. Win and
He
at all
flips his
costs.
collar so much.
It's annoying.
I said, what happens more, him flipping his collar or someone saying hell in this movie? I think they're in a dead heat with each other.
It's close.
Maybe
for
crap.
Sure.
Another.
So I've got a couple of questions about insults in this movie. Now,
I have so many questions.
I know 90s kids movie
Creative insults. One of the lines that I said I don't know what this means is, "What's this? The Oreo line?" I guess, is that just a fat joke?
No. Black, white, black.
That's a racist joke? in this
Yeah.
movie? Okay.
It's
We'll have
the-
to file that under our
it's the Hall
section. Is this
brothers.
movie problematic?
Yeah, it's the Hall brothers. White kid in the middle.
That doesn't age well.
I mean, it's not overtly racist in that it's like demeaning.
Yeah.
It's just calling out what you see. But I cannot.
You don't make that joke if this movie's made today. That joke
Correct.
is cut.
Correct. That is, yes. Bottom line, yes. That is true.
Insults repeated throughout this movie ad nauseum. Cake eater.
Yes, I looked it up.
Please.
So it's a thing in Minnesota.
Okay.
I think Minneapolis specific, but I can't be quoted specifically for that.
Okay.
Please don't quote me. However, it seems to be implying you're rich. Like, have your cake, eat it too type thing. So,
Okay.
because you hear Adam Banks say that to Gordon as he gets on the
Right.
bus at the end, like, cake eater, like, giving it to him.
Okay.
So anyone, apparently this is a real thing, that anyone that comes from money, they're called cake eaters.
Wow. See, that to me, I felt like that was lost on me, and maybe if I'll pick it up at another watch, is that I felt like they all just started calling each other it. Like at a certain point, that applies to Gordon, it applies to Banks.
Thanks.
But then I feel maybe it was just those.
I didn't hear it to anyone else.
Okay,
I think
so
Jussie
maybe-
calls Adam Banks the cake eater
Okay.
initially, and then I think Banks is at the end. It's like a joke to
Okay.
Don Bay.
I felt like they dropped that no less than 5 to 7 times.
Yeah, I will say, growing up, I thought it was a fat joke, and now thank you, internet, for
Thanks, Google, for
enlightening
teaching
me
me. Yeah.
that it's actually about wealth.
Well,
not
And you know
Right.
what? Kudos to the writers for sticking to
the roots.
the roots. It's a
Yeah.
Minnesota thing. Like it's
It's
well done to them.
topical. Yes,
Fine.
people in Minnesota are like, ugh,
Love
preaching
it.
the choir.
Absolute cake eaters.
He totally
Everybody
is.
else is looking around going,
And
I,
Oreo line,
I love cake.
same thing.
A lot of sweet related insults. So in my mind, I'm like,
are.
these are all just fat jokes.
Right in my wheel. I'm like, yes, I don't care. Give it to me.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up for me. Appreciate that.
Yes, you're welcome.
So what's the Oreo line and then cake eater?
There's some montages in here with the sped up scenes. Also ones with the big band music. Love that. Makes me think of League of Their Own. Love a big band montage.
I could have done with more montages, to be honest. To go from Mighty Ducks bad to good,
Yeah,
I feel like we were
They-
a solid montage away from them reaching.
that's true. They could have
full
definitely
potential.
squeezed some more out of that.
It's not too much to
No.
ask.
Gordon chewing the aspirin.
Yeah. I don't know.
That to me, I mean, I guess the implication being like he's so stressed, he's not even bothering to
Just
properly take aspirin. He's just gonna
mainline it. Let's do this.
Yeah. Ooh.
Have you ever read The Shining?
I've never.
I think he does that in The Shining too, and that's the first instance that I'm like, wait, you can do that? I thought you just swallowed.
That's one of those things where I'm like, people don't actually do that, right? Like that must be a.
Do you enjoy the taste? Are they menthol flavored? What's the deal?
Yeah, I feel like if you were really stressed, you would want to swallow those, get them down as quickly as possible, not chew them up and have to deal with all the chalky.
Maybe they're chewables. I don't know.
If they're Flintstones, fine.
It said
then pop
aspirin,
them.
but he could have just put other.
That's true.
Medicine in the.
He drinks and
container.
drives.
I don't know.
Who knows what's in his aspirin bottles? Another note I had: why didn't Gordon just lay out Coach Riley? I mean, he never. He always takes the higher road, but for as many times as Coach Riley accosts him and pops his collar at him, I just feel like if Charlie Sheen played Gordon Bombay, he's laying him
they're
out.
fighting.
He's
for
laying
sure.
One time he's on the ice, he's knocking him out.
Emilio may not be a fighter. I know he was a hockey player.
That's
but
true.
If he was a scorer, he may not be accustomed to fighting.
That's true.
I buy that.
Yeah.
My question is, were there tryouts for District 5 team? Absolutely
not.
Because if there were, there's no chance Goldberg makes the team.
No.
What does he? He has no skill set.
No.
He's fat, so I get like, oh, he's fat. Put him in goalie.
Right.
But he actively avoids the puck.
Right. Yeah, they're looking for bodies. They need just kids on the team.
Specifically, larger ones.
Yeah. There's no trials for District 5. For the Hawks, there's rounds of tryouts. District 5 is just grab whoever you can.
Okay.
Yeah. Another classic insult, 90s insult, wuss breath. Love it.
Wuss breath. Good one.
I'm sure I said it back in the day. It doesn't miss. When Coach Riley sees Gordon Bombay for the first time, and after the Hawks beat District 5, he goes to high five his assistant and totally misses. He totally biffs it. It's just one of those go for the hand and high five the forearm, but play it off
and a high five at the same time.
But play it off I know I'm on camera, so we gotta keep it going.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Just keep it. Who don't even bother reshooting this. That's how those two shake hands.
That's just fine. How they celebrate.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of experience with community service. Is this the kind of thing that someone could get? Is this a realistic setup for community service?
I hope not.
Go coach the local youth hockey team for $500.
I hope not for the kids' sake, but I don't know. In Minnesota, maybe that's just their thing where they're like, oh, damn it, Roger. You got arrested again, DUI. This is your third one.
District 5.
This is 2 years of coaching.
Yeah.
You're not getting out of this.
Yeah.
My issue is that he works at a law firm.
Mm-hmm.
His boss wants to teach him, quote, compassion and a sense of fair play by making him complete 500 hours of community service.
Yeah.
Then he fires him for playing by the rules.
Yeah.
For saying, oh, Adam Banks is actually in your district?
Yeah.
F off. No, he's actually on this team instead. Yeah. He fires him for the thing that he sets him out to complete.
Yeah. People are flawed, Jim.
I understand. But this law firm makes no sense either because Bombay wins his first court case and his boss is like, play by the rules next time. All right? Don't look for loopholes.
Yeah.
Win fairly.
He's a moral. He's a moral man.
That's what you do. You win fairly.
His morals are present until someone wants to give him some money and be like, listen, my son's on the team. Would you just make it happen?
Also, Duckworth.
Yeah.
Not a great name.
They really lay on the duck.
Would you ever hire a lawyer at a law firm? It's Duckworth and Duckworth or something?
I mean, they really... I was curious with this movie. So the Anaheim Ducks weren't a team yet. I assume this movie spawned some of that interest to be connected to that.
All of it.
This movie lays on the Duck chants,
correct.
The Duck, the logos, the Ducksworth, quack, quack, quack.
Disney owned a team, and so they decided to rename it the Ducks or the Mighty Ducks initially. And then I think they got rid of the mighty term because I don't know if it seemed too hokey. And part of me really likes that. And then part of me is like, okay, well, Amazon could buy a team and be like the Amazonians or something. Like
the Bezoses.
So at the time, I would say as a kid, to see like a kid's movie, oh, these are the Ducks, and now it's an NHL team, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Dreams do come true.
Like I wanted to cheer for that team.
Yeah, it's true. It's great. It's a great move. I was just curious. Was it a chicken and egg situation?
Disney owned the team,
yeah.
And so it was like a natural fit. They were just like, guess what? You're the Ducks now.
Fine.
Congrats.
Quack, quack. So not only did this movie invent poo dollars, I mean, I feel as though Gordon had a strong hand in paving the way for flopping in sports. He lays it on thick. I mean, that first game, everyone's taking dives.
And that's
and it gets called out on.
Things that went over my head when I watched as a kid. So, get indignant is his quote.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't have known that.
What is it? He says, I wrote it down. It's like, get indignant, take the fall.
Yeah.
Look angry or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Take the fall, act hurt, get indignant.
Yeah.
Do you know what indignant means even to this day? Can you define it?
Get serious, get
so I didn't know the exact definition. I'm like, okay, I kind of get the gist.
Yeah.
So it means feeling or showing anger or annoyance at what is perceived as unfair treatment.
Wow, that feels
over my head.
Over their
heads. Get further over my head.
I mean, a little bit legalese talk, maybe that's his lawyer talk slipping out with the kids. Like, they're not going to know.
Holy hell!
They're just getting yelled at. They're not worried about the big words.
That's what you say in a speech to the kids.
Yeah.
I have a fun game.
Yeah.
Dead or alive.
So Hans, the actor's name is Joss Ackland.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in over 100 movies.
Wow. He was a bad guy in... I feel like he was a bad guy in something. Okay, go ahead.
Is he alive or dead?
It feels like he's probably dead because he seems pretty old in this movie. But it seems tricky question. I'll say he's alive.
He's alive. 91 years old.
Good for him.
Good for you,
Hans.
Joss Ackland. Okay, next. Coach Riley. Wayne Smith.
He's alive.
He died.
Wow.
2005, age of 69. God rest his soul.
Ah, Coach Riley.
Okay, Judge Weathers.
Oh, alive.
Died. 2015. Age of 86.
There's too much pain with this movie now.
And so this is where we find out, yes, it is in fact two different characters. Judge Weathers is George Coe. Mm-hmm. Mr. Gerald Ducksworth is Joseph Summer.
Both Joes.
Is he alive or dead?
Well, it seems like there's a trend going on, so I'll say he is not alive.
You're really bad at this game. He's alive.
You've just formatted it perfectly. You've led me into the trap.
He is 85 years old and kicking.
Good for him.
And then finally, Gordon Bombay, Emilio Estevez.
Alive.
Also, yes, he is also alive.
Although, spoiler alert, isn't... I mean, I don't know if this applies in the Are They Alive game, but isn't Goldberg... Didn't something happen with him kind of recently?
He was a big meth head. There were some pictures on TMZ that were not flattering. He is still alive. Last I checked. I follow him on Instagram.
Well, here they just pulled up Bill Goldberg, so I'll just leave that as the memory. I assume
that's
what he looks like now.
Oh. But yes, he is still alive. Yeah. He's just having a rough time with some drugs.
Okay. Well, best goes out to him. I hope the best. Is it realistic? You do the numbers. They say that Gordon scored 198 goals in one season. If you do the math, which I tried, I attempted it. I looked up how many games in a youth hockey season. 54, potentially.
That seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot, right? I think
how far are these seasons?
There might be a traveling team. There might be tournaments and things. You're getting 3 games in a weekend or something. Maybe there might be
a lot.
At that rate, you're getting even at that rate with that many games, you're getting almost 4 goals a game just yourself. You're a stud. If you're there's some games you got to imagine they're only scoring 1 goal or no goals.
Not at that age.
And then the next game he's going to score 8 goals.
It's possible.
Okay.
Have you read Outliers?
No.
by Malcolm Gladwell?
No.
I'm going to go ahead and bet that Gordon Bombay was born in the spring. There is this thing in Outliers where hockey players specifically in the NHL are born between like March and May.
Wow.
And it's because they are at the age when they are recruited by scouts. They are like every month makes a big difference. So they're a few months older, stronger,
got it,
tougher, more mature. Those are the ones that get recruited because they're that much quicker, faster, you name it.
Yeah.
And so then they get the better coaches, they get the better training.
Wow. And
so it's something crazy, and I'm going to misquote this terribly, but it's like 75% of the players in the NHL are born in like those 3 months.
So you think he's a spring baby?
So I buy 4 goals a game.
Okay.
I think 54 games.
That's where it falls off.
That's where I get offended.
Well, that's more my Googling and less on the movie. But still, if it's less games, that means it's more goals.
Right. Now he's scoring like 15 goals a game.
So either way, Gordon.
Maybe it should be. Hopefully it's 54 games a season. Otherwise, good God.
Either way, Gordon's a stud. He goes to Ducksworth and asks for $15,000 for new equipment and jerseys.
I have this written down too.
I actually don't have a problem necessarily with that because I'm sure hockey equipment is expensive. But that first purchase,
$7,200.
Yeah, so
I wrote that down too. I deleted it then because they had practice jerseys, and they had game jerseys.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm actually not. At first, I was like $15,000, but then throughout the movie, I'm like, okay, maybe.
You know what that is? That's the dad in us that were like, 15. Who's your jersey guy? I can get that for $3,000 easy. How many players?
Listen, you're talking to the wrong guy here. You come to me.
What kind of pads do you need?
My uncle can make that. Just let me. Football gear works the same.
Put some pie tins under your thigh. You'll be fine.
$15,000 in this economy.
I love that we both pinpointed that. That just seemed outrageous. Even in '92.
Now add for inflation. What's that? What's he asking for? Like $25,000
at least. I'll never stand for it. I don't care if you're sponsoring the team.
No. Tommy and Tammy. Tommy's the Pete and Pete drop. We already covered it. Great.
Okay, is this the most 90 movies ever?
It might be.
The most 90s. Sorry, the most 90s movie ever. You have Pete from Pete and Pete. You got Goldberg. You have Carp, who I know more fondly as Gerald Gardner from Heavyweight.
Sure.
You got Joshua Jackson.
Yeah, they really.
These are prominent 90s figures. Like you said, if Leo got in this mix.
I don't know. I think it becomes. I mean, I don't know that Leo would steal the movie, but I think this is a right. This is a right mix of like, no one's taken like Emilio's the focus, but the ensemble's all one unit.
I just think all these like prominent figures in 90s movies and TV shows, you got a lot of them in one space.
Yeah.
Like
they had
pound for pound.
They had a $10 million budget. I mean, who knows?
They
knows
used
what
it on their cast.
They used it well.
Easily.
Yeah. When Gordon gets Fulton initially, I love that he just lets Fulton annihilate the van. Like just I don't care about the van. Let me see that shot again. Like I've got insurance on it.
You only broke one window.
Yeah.
I don't think you can break 2.
Try it again.
You broke 2. Can you break 3?
I got my face. All right. Do the front now. All right. Go for the tires.
And Fulton does seem so. He's like, I mean, I did it.
You're the adult here, so fine. But I enjoyed that thoroughly. Maybe something I poke a hole in, maybe not, because this is Minnesota, so maybe it's like in Texas, football is a big deal. Some of these games, there are so many people. Even this game is an early. There's not that many parents.
It's a big crowd.
Like if you do the numbers, 2 for every kid. Maybe you got sisters and aunts and uncles. Like they get a pretty good crowd for these games.
Very, very excited.
Yes, they're not. There's not. Now again, this movie's made today. You have to have some parents on their phones or something like this is the 3rd game today, but they're all there. They are pumped. They're pumped to be there. So good for them. Good that they have a crowd that's excited.
They're
to watch
into
them.
it. They're celebratory.
Yeah.
I'm excited for them.
Yeah. I'm excited watching. The crowd pumps up another notch. If they could have done like made it a comedic thing where the parents don't care or their phone, they're sitting around, but they were there and they're excited.
They sure were.
Yeah. The Carp concussion, I love that they just say to the bench with you, no problem.
And we've talked about this before. No concussion protocol.
No, never
His
in youth
helmet
sports.
is dented in, which how hard do you have to hit to dent a helmet?
Yeah, he got absolutely smoked.
And his face,
yeah,
it looks. He does not look well.
Yeah.
And they're just like
to the bench.
Oh, how many fingers am I holding? Oh, you wouldn't know that anyway. You're fine.
Yeah, to the bench. You'll figure it out. Like you're a kid, you'll bounce back. Yeah. No, I think this will be a theme in like kids getting laid out in youth sports movies.
Right.
And it just
it's
being like,
funny.
well, right.
They get knocked out and it's funny.
Yeah, that's fine. Charlie really, really hammering it home for Gordon for his mom. Like I feel like the usual thing for the single kid with the mom,
be
if you
protective
or like gross, like why are you here? Like, but he's just like, listen, you gotta get it with my mom. Like you
spaghetti tonight.
Come on, I'm not gonna come with on the walk. You guys take your time.
Right.
Like he's really going to bat for him, and so
at the end too, he kisses her before he goes to the minors, and I watch Charlie's face.
Yeah,
and he is enamored with what is happening. He's just like, oh, they're kissing.
Yeah.
Which, okay, you shouldn't be surprised.
Right.
You saw this. You've seen this before.
Yeah.
But he seems to be enjoying it.
I think he was one step from just leaving condoms out. Like
it's a
Gordon?
little disturbing. He is kind of rooting for them.
He's really going hard. Like he's popping the bed. Like anyone need the light off?
Maybe
Barry
he
White
just
on.
Really
like,
wants a dad.
I mean, fine. I'm game for that. But
I get it.
There's no opportunity that he leaves without being like, Gordon, listen. She likes spaghetti.
Yeah.
This or drink. Like,
her turn-ons, if we're being honest,
include
give her a little chocolate.
Fabio. It's the 90s.
A glass
Fabio.
of wine.
Yeah.
She'll never see it coming.
Some Zima. Again, we don't have the technology at the time. But Riley has not aged in 30 years. From the time he's a coach of Gordon when he is 12 to the time he is now he's done great. Whatever his skin routine is, he's got to let us know.
Well, he's on the ice. That cool air
That's true.
has got to help his skin.
That's true.
He
Well, the
doesn't have
cryo
wrinkles.
now. Yeah. He's whatever he's
not
doing.
going to have smile lines because he doesn't smile.
That's true. But he's got the frown, frowning lines.
Well,
He's got those aren't going away.
He's a coach. What are you going to do?
The kid on the Hawks who lays out Banks.
Yep.
If that was a character that we would follow into the future, he is in jail for murdering people.
Most likely.
He's doing time now. Like
yes, that is accurate.
His smile, his whole demeanor, when he's at home, he's like hurting animals. Like he's not a good person.
I don't think he's been in other movies, but if he has been, he is typecast for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
The shithead.
Yeah. And also speaking of shitheads, Banks' dad wants his son still on the Hawks. Fine. In the championship game, his son is playing for the Ducks.
Correct.
He is sitting with all the Hawks parents wearing the Hawks jacket. A little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
If you're
mixed signals.
If you're Banks, if you're a son, aren't you going like, Dad, listen, I get it, but just don't wear the Ducks jersey.
Yeah.
Don't wear the Ducks jersey either, but just this is a bit much. Like you're leaving me out to dry.
Sit in the middle.
Yeah, you're leaving me
the two teams.
You're leaving me out to dry. Now we come to my favorite category. Is it problematic / racist? The couple of things that stand out to me. Gordon drops a thanks, bro, to one of the black kids.
Yeah.
Feels purposeful. Feels like he did it on purpose.
I think so.
Bombay throwing Charlie down in the limo probably doesn't fly. Child abuse probably doesn't fly as much. All the fat jokes. I think at one point, goalie's name that I just saw, Goldberg, is called Cream Cheese Boy. Amongst all the other ones that I didn't list.
Is that a Jewish joke or a fat joke? Yeah, I mean, this movie, if it were remade, I think they would make minor changes. But I think the essence of it would still remain the same.
And also a blue balls joke from a kid. Again, all right, fine.
Not ideal.
So now after we've walked and talked through the whole movie, do you think a 6.5 out of 10 / a 23% is accurately given? Do you think that is the rating for this movie? 2 out of 5 stars by Roger Ebert.
So I will admit, prior to rewatching this, because I haven't seen this movie in, 2 years ago when we talked about this podcast. Prior to
no one has to know that. Time is a flat circle. Go ahead.
I did not think this movie would hold up. Watching it,
It's out of 4 stars. 2 out of 4.
I think that's about.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. 2 out of 5 felt like a pretty rough
little
rating,
low?
but I'm fine with 2 out of 4.
I'm fine with either. So if we're going like IMDb 6.5 out of 10, I think that is appropriately rated. It is a kids movie.
Mm-hmm.
You take some things with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm going thumbs up for Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think at the beginning you feel like, oh man, this is gonna drag. It's probably not gonna hold up. But by
it's
the
an
end,
hour and 44 minutes. I will say it felt a little long.
yeah.
Where I'm like, gee, I'm only an hour in. Good
Yeah.
God.
But by the end, when they win, I got goosebumps. I feel like for as much as there's like
you.
the
Good for you.
the goofiness of the movie, like eventually, I think it all pulls together to like, all right, it gives you what you want.
Yeah.
Like the team wins. Gordon's going to the minors.
I'll take it. I'm still in. All these years later.
I think the 23% rating is a little rough, but the 6.5 I'm fine with, and I give thumbs up to Mighty Ducks. I think it still holds up.
Yeah. Do we recommend? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the question. Do we recommend?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, we recommend.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm ready for the sequel.
I'm ready for the sequel. The next few sequels.
Fire up
Let's
2
do
and 3.
this.
If Disney isn't famous for anything, it's that every good thing gets 2 more additional movies at the very least,
And then and a few past its
and
expiration date.
some spin-offs for popular characters.
That's right.
Thank you for listening. Please follow, rate, review, like, and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Tune in next week when we review another cinematic masterpiece from our childhood. Until then, blood, breath, or urine. No thanks. I'm full.